Hi, let me lay before you my plans for the coming year. But before we do it, let's start with something beautiful. Behind me, you can see the mountains you can see Jerusalem actually. I'm on the Judean hills, and as you can see, Jerusalem is right behind me. So let me show you 360-degree around where I'm standing, and you can see this beautiful place. And here is the ruins of Belmont, which is a fortress, and more. And now okay. So this beautiful place is called Belmont, and yes, Italians were here, and they left this place and left us a beautiful place, and they gave a nice name, Belmont, the beautiful mountain. And right next to Belmont is where I was born. This is Kibbutz Suba, with all the orchards around it. And let's now focus on the orchards. Okay, now you can see here on the terrace, many orchards, all deciduous. So this is where I started as a farmer, together with my father, who was the manager of the orchards. It's a great place to talk about the future. So let's talk about the future and my plans for the next year. So focus. I'm going to focus on India and Africa. India and Africa and fruit flies. India, I'm going to start a new company that will be completely dedicated to India and to the problems of the Indian farmers. We're going to start with fruit flies. Yes, fruit flies. Number one group of pests in India. To start that company, we are open to get as partners small investors. Well, it can also be bigger, but why do I say small? Not because they are small. They need to have a big heart, and they need to share the same values as we are. They need to have a vision, but we are not looking for someone who will take over. So minority share. And we also not talking about tens of millions of dollars or millions of dollars. We're talking about each investment between $100,000 to $500,000. That's it. That's it. No more than this. And we are open just for a few, very few. Until now, we had many discussions with big companies. And time after time, we were reluctant to get them into this company because we felt that we don't share the same values. And this is very important. So we know what we want. We know where we want to go. And India is a great place with an unbelievable potential that is unlocked. And we are going to open it for the Indians and for the world. And we're going to change the life, not of hundreds of people, not of thousands or tens of thousands, but of millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions. That's what we want. And for the better. So, this is India. Another thing that in India, but secondary, is to scale up projects. We already had the last 2 years small projects. We want to go to larger projects and to have it part of our regulation. We want to do it with local companies, and we want to do it with local governments, and we anticipate that it's going to cost each one between $30,000 to $60,000. So distributors in India, please don't call me if you just want to distribute. If you have the abilities to do what I was just talking about, if you have the budget, okay, great, do it now, before we start this season. This is the right time. Now, as to Africa. Africa, well, we are not going to start our own companies in each state, in each country. No. This is kept only for India. In Africa, if you are a company that is able to make such a huge move and develop the market in your own country, and you share the same values as we do, you are welcome. We are open in West Africa, East Africa, and even in South Africa. I say even because South Africa is not a very inviting place when you think about regulation. And we see in West Africa and East Africa our greatest potential for the next year. It's going to, we estimate it is going to take between $30,000 to $60,000 to start such a project. So you should have the funds and you should have the ability for regulation, marketing, and so on. Now, Southeast Asia is also in our priority, after India and after Africa. We love it, and we're going to get there. In all those places, fruit flies are different than the fruit flies we have in Israel. And in many cases, they are even different in one place, in one country versus the other. So it's not something simple. Don't ask for samples. You're never going to get it. It is a full project. Now, what about the rest of the world? Usually, the American says America, Europe, and the rest of the world, something like that. We are saying the other way. We say Asia, Africa, and the rest of the world. So the rest of the world is great. We love it. And actually, the bigger the problems are, we are more keen to get into. With the same demands of the ability of the local partner to market the product, to do regulation and everything that is required. But this is second to India, Africa, and Southeast Asia. So this is what we're going to do this year. You want to take part, you are more than welcome. Bye-bye from the Judean Hills.